Hello and welcome back to Aubrey Books and Coffee. Please grab your favorite beverage of choice and join me. We are going to be doing the third vlog of the Apollycon authors that we're trying. I'm so excited. It's getting closer and closer. That also means I'm running out of time because there's a ton of authors I've never tried. But on this list, I am super excited about, well, all three of them really, but one's been around for a while, one's brand spanking new, and the other one has been all over Book Talk and BookTube, so I'm excited. And those are Furyborn. I'm sure you all have already read this. I have not read anything from this author, so I'm excited. The Veiled Kingdom. I heard book 2 is not as good, but we'll see. And last but certainly not least, the new hot sensation of Quicksilver by Callie Hart. So can you guess which one I'm starting with? I am so excited. It's a bit of a chunker and not a huge fan of the cover, to be honest. I can't tell if he's crying or something, but regardless, can't judge a book by its cover, right? So I'm excited. I'm really hoping it's a win. Like everybody else has been loving it because Callie Hart's, of course, going to be there and hopefully have some gorgeous additions. And let's see if any of these are ones I'm going to pick up. So I've just started in Quicksilver and it's interesting so far. It's literally just starting out. I am, oh gosh, like 40 pages into it. So literally just started. But it has really started off with a bang. It's got a amazing character named, I think it's pronounced Saris. She's a thief. She's trying to make ends meet, trying to take care of herself and her brother. And basically she gets caught like immediately, or at least they're trying to catch her because she's stolen a piece of armor that's like part of the king's armor. And so she's like trying to get away and stuff. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Aladdin, you know, whenever he would swipe something and then they would be like, "Stop, thief," and chase him. And so it kind of gives me those vibes, but it's really good, really interesting. I'm loving the banter. She is really teasing the guards, you know, talking about they're not very good if they can't catch her. Her and her brother have a very sibling rivalry thing going and really enjoy that. She's got an old love interest that was a mistake, and we don't need to say, I know, right, Rumbletoes? Like, we don't need to say a lot about that, but a mistake was made with him, and she's having to deal with him to kind of help her brother and stuff. And so where we're at in this page, we're finding out that she has some kind of secret ability with metal. We don't know exactly what it is yet. She's just kind of hinted at it. But basically she's had to save her brother and it's going down. And it's very interesting. It's very pulled me in, even though just barely scratched the surface of this book. It's like over 600 pages. So I'm barely there. But also it is snowing. Can you see the snow? Like, how amazing is that? Ah, it's the first snow. So anyway, I thought that would make it the perfect time to update you on this vlog. I am now 25% into Quicksilver. So I'm getting there. It's a bit of a chunky book. But it is good. It is interesting. And I'm learning a whole lot about this world that is just absolutely intriguing me. And like I said before, whenever I initially started, we were following Saris. She's a thief. She's also good with metalworking and things like that. And she has some untapped powers that she doesn't really understand where it comes from or what's going on. Well, essentially, to try to save her brother, she gets captured by the queen, who is, we'll just say, a little deranged. And essentially, she's got a bodyguard that she tasks with getting information out of Saris and then to kill her. And even goes so far as to say, because you've made me mad, I plan on killing 100,000 of your friends and family. And so Saris, of course, is just devastated. So she has this fight with the bodyguard. And of course, the latent powers, as they do, kind of surfaces. Well, then all of a sudden, this massive fae male comes out of this silver type substance that appears and yeah, basically transports her to the Fae world, which is blowing Saris's mind because she was raised that the Fae were fake. Like, she was told they're just the boogeymen of stories to get children to behave and go to bed on time. Like, the Fae aren't real. And he's like showing her his canines and he's like, and his pointy ears, and he's like, I beg to differ. And so It's interesting. It's really interesting. And so now we have Sayrus trying to survive in their Fey realm and has met the Fey King and has befriended a noble woman of the court who's just so sweet. Everlane, I think is how you pronounce her name. And the Fey that rescued her is now training her, and his name's Kingfisher, and he's really cool, but kind of arrogant and annoying and like comes in hungover sometimes. And so you could just see where that, is probably going to go. But meanwhile, of course, Sayrus also wants to go back to the human world because she's worried about these 100,000 people that were threatened while she was gone. And so it's just at the 25% mark, we're just kind of getting to know this world and her powers or potential powers, and seeing her bicker back and forth with Kingfisher is fantastic. But she has this really good and cute friendship with Everlane that is just absolutely sweet, and I love it. And so I'm into this, guys. I know it's only been like 160 pages, but I am in. I am now halfway in Quicksilver. Oh my gosh! I don't mean to sound ridiculous or like swoony or like young child or anything, but oh my freaking gosh, it is so good. The banter is bantering, and I have no words. I have no words. It's very reluctant allies and enemies to lovers, and there's sarcasm and there's wit, and the main character is amazing, and she is a freaking champ, and I love her so much. And just all the extra stuff too, all the politics and the war that's happening. And now we've got freaking zombies. And I mean, like, there's just, oh my gosh, all the things, you guys. I am swooning. I am absolutely loving this book. I did not expect to love it this much. This is going to be a problem because I'm pretty sure there was something else in the romantasy category I had been planning on voting for. So I think this is now going to make my life a whole lot harder, but oh my gosh, worth it. All right, so I finally finished Quicksilver, and I'm in love. I'm gonna have to say 5 stars, guys. 5 stars. This was chef's kiss. This was so good. I did not expect it. The way they left us at the ending, though, I'm 100% continuing this series. I need the next book, like right now, like right freaking now. And I've got just a whole lap full of cats going on right now. They've been reading with me, and they've been cheering with me, and oh. So this one is actually starting off with a bang. I am so excited. Quicksilver was so good. Now let's go ahead and get on to the next one, which is the Veiled Kingdom. As far as I understand, this is going to follow kind of Fae, I think, people. And it's got a princess who's escaping her kingdom and gets picked up by rebels, I think. And of course, there's probably going to be a romance going on between her and a rebel. That's really all I know, except that it's all over BookTube, and a lot of people just absolutely love it. They keep saying book 2 isn't as good, but I just want to see at least with book 1 and see how it goes. And yeah, see if it's one I'm going to pick up at Apollycon. So I'm about 25% into the Veiled Kingdom, and so far it's pretty good. We're following Naira, who is a princess of a very, very cruel king, and he's kind of been abusive to the people, and she's basically trying to escape his cruel, he like beats her and things like that, and so she's trying to escape him. And she's also thinking of like joining the rebels, and she either can overthrow Dad or maybe get some good info from, the rebels that she can pass on to Dad to finally win approval. So like there's lots of stuff that Nira's trying to do. One of her friends has the ability to give a tattoo that makes it look like she joined the rebel cause, and I thought that was pretty cool, that whole scene actually setting it up. She ends up getting captured, of course, by the rebels, and it's kind of like what she was wanting. Unfortunately for her, one of the people who capture her is, I think it's pronounced Dacre, Dacre, and he's the son of the rebel commander, and he's kind of a no-nonsense a-hole, to be honest, and at least that's the vibes he's giving off right now. But I can be into that. And he's like, yeah, good job with a fake tattoo. And so like painfully removes it. And he's like really just not trusting her now. And he's like, who are you? And she gives a fake name. And he's like, I'm watching you. Meanwhile, his sister, though, has become kind of a friend. So yeah, so far it's interesting. So far there's enough world building and enough banter and enough friendship and intrigue that I can see this being a winner even. So let's see. So I'm now 50% into The Veiled Kingdom, and I'm actually liking it less, if you can believe that. Yeah, basically that Dacre guy is a complete a-hole, and some people are into bully romance, I guess you could call it. I'm not. So I'm not feeling any kind of love interest there. I'm only feeling like initially he was training her, and that's okay. Like I've read, many different romanticises and stuff where they're training and they're like, you're such a wimp, and who taught you how to fight, protect yourself. And then she overcomes and proves herself, and so then he kind of gets, secretly impressed. That's not the case here. He just continues to be a jerk, and I just don't like it. Like the things he says to her and the way he treats her, it's bullying, it's mean, and I don't find that attractive at all. So unfortunately for me and my taste, it actually is taking me out of the story a bit. It's making me feel a lot like I just want someone to knock him down a peg or two, and I don't want it to be her. I want her to dust her hands of him and have nothing more to do with him because he's not worth it, and he's not worth her time. She's better than that. And yeah, just it's going down a little bit for me because of that. I think you know what I'm gonna say. Hi, Whiskey. So I'm now 75% into The Veiled Kingdom. I just don't like him. I really don't. His attitude still has not shifted. She's super attracted to him because, of course, and yeah, he supposedly has feelings for her, but he's literally still talking to her the same way and demanding things. And now you're even having any kind of romantic time or, spicy scene is, for me, tinged, because there's even a time where she's like, stop, and he's like, shut up, you don't know what you want, kind of thing. And it's like, no, no. So again, that's just me. That's why I DNF the Zodiac Academy series. It was nothing but bullying. I didn't feel romance there at all. To me, there's a line. There's a line of being an arrogant son of a gun that has to overcome his pride and arrogance, kind of like, Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Darcy. You have to overcome it and grow. And because you feel for this woman, you change. And that's just not happening here. And I don't like it. She just feels like she's being written weaker and weaker, and he just continues to mull right over her, and I'm just not into it. So it went from a potential 5 to a 4 to now maybe it'll be a 3. I just am not into it. This is not for me. So I finally finished The Veiled Kingdom, and it just kept going downhill for me. So I'm going to end on a 2-star with it. And I'm definitely not picking up a beautiful edition at Apollycon for sure. It just, it started off with some of the favorite tropes that I love, and then it just went into bullying. Like I've mentioned before, he was just a big alpha hole, and there was never anything charming. I didn't feel like there was ever any actual like romantic connection. It was just bullying, and they were horny, I guess. So yeah, like I just wasn't feeling it. And then that dropped it from 5 to 4 to quickly to a 3. And I thought for sure it would stay 3, even though there really wasn't any plot. Really, the entirety of the plot is she's keeping this secret from the rebels, and they're training her. And that's literally it. Like that's the entire book of what happened. So like, there's not a lot there. There's not a lot of any kind of meat and potatoes there at all. And then on top of it, this romance is just not a romance. So for me, it was a complete loss. And especially at the ending, the way the ending happened, yeah, he's not coming back from that for me. He's just not. I'm sorry, but there's a line. You just crossed that line. I'm done. I am so not continuing this series, and I dropped it down to a 2-star. So that is my final ranking for it. And I definitely don't need to pick up any other books from this author because I've heard this is a similar vibe for all the books. So let's move on to the next one. So I am currently 25% into Furyborn, and at this point we're just getting to know the two main characters, POVs and stuff. The first one being I believe it's pronounced Rael. Basically her best friend, who by the way is also a prince, is about to get hurt, and so she steps in to save him and kind of unfortunately reveals that she has powers, like really strong powers. And so naturally the king's like, yeah, I appreciate you saved the prince and all, but there's like this prophecy about two very powerful queens, and now I'm wondering if you're one of them or not. So you're going to go through some trials, so we find out for sure one way or the other. So that's kind of where we are. She's very sarcastic and fierce, and I really enjoy her character as POV. Then the other story actually is 1,000 years into the future, and that follows, is it Elena. The names are very confusing for me, especially since there's only one narrator. But Elena essentially is a bounty hunter to put food on the table for her family, and so she has to kill people that she gets bounties for. The family really kind of judge her harshly for this, but they also accept the food that's on the table and the clothing that they have because of it. So she's always having to kind of do the things that nobody else wants to do just to make sure her family survives. And she kind of grew up hearing about this Queen Rael, but she thinks it's just a fable, a bedtime story. But where we're at right now in the story, at 25%, she's got some friends and they're kind of helping her potentially join a rebellion. And so she's kind of contemplating doing that. That's about as far as we are right now. But I'm betting, because the prophecy has two queens, I'm betting she's going to be a queen. And I'm curious how they're going to connect the stories, because right now they're 1,000 years apart. So, but yeah, so far so good. So I am 50% into Furyborn, and it's really picked up. Riel is going through some serious trials, and then of course we fast forward 1,000 years, and Alana is with the rebels, and there's even a bit of a budding romance going on. She just really wants her mom, back though, and so there's discussion of potentially giving away some secrets of the rebels in order to try to get her mom back. It's a whole thing. I don't want to spoil anything. Lots and lots of world building. I gotta admit, this author is phenomenal at really building that world and making it in depth and really full of things. I have to say though, unfortunately, I'm really not bonding with the characters until I start hearing them interact, like specific trials they're going through or the people that they're interacting with. The two girls honestly merge for me. Like, they feel the same for me. So I'm just really not connecting with them. I'm hoping that changes. I'm only halfway, so I'm hoping that it does get a little bit better. So I finished Furyborn now, and I'm gonna give it a 3-star, and I'm honestly, don't at me, but I'm honestly not gonna continue the series. I'm gonna just leave it with this because again, the world building is really good, a lot, especially for a YA series. Beautiful job, well done. And the politics and stuff, well done. But for me, I really like character-heavy stories. I don't want there to be no plot, but like what happened with the previous book we looked at. But I want to feel for the characters. I want to be mad with them, be sad with them, be anxious with them. I want to root for them. And I just didn't really go deep with either one. I really just didn't care. And if that's how I feel after the first book, I don't want to drag through 2 more because they just get bigger and bigger. And I just don't want to commit to that. There's so many books out there. And it could just be the season that I'm in. This is a beloved series, so I'm pretty sure it's just me. It's a me thing. but yeah, so I'm gonna end it here with the 3-star, and I'm glad I did read it. I'm not gonna get a beautiful book at Apollycon. I don't feel like it's necessary. But now I'm excited to try 3 new authors and just continue this process.